All right, so show work, include units, round final answers to do decimals, right? Final answers, not along the way. Don't round, 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 round. Next thing you know, you're off by a lot, right? So find the indicated side or angle, sketch if applicable. So in this case, you solve for this angle first because there's no pair, like this angle allows you to solve for that side, but you don't have a side across this angle, so there's nothing to be had here at first. It is also not cosine law because it's not side, 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 definitely not that one. It's also not side angle side because you need two sides for that to be the case, right? So cosine law is completely out here. This angle, I'm going to call that angle A, would be 71 degrees, right? So I'll give you a mark for that today, just to make it easier. So if the 71 degree angle shows up anywhere, you get a mark for that. And so once you know that this is 71, using the sum of triangle is equal to 180, you set it up, right? You recognize that it's sine law. And it wants this side, so you must use 61 as the angle here to solve for x. And then the next one is to actually show the work. So that's 21 times sine of 61 divided by sine of 71. For all of this, I'll give you another mark. And then the final answer is 1943 centimeters. That, of course, gets you the third mark here. So you actually have to have the correct final answer to get the mark. If you make a mistake anywhere up here, you use 48 instead of 61, that's -1 right away. I would then still give you the mark here if you show me the work and you actually that number actually matches what you got, okay? Next, here we have a pair here, right? This angle, if you travel out, you've got the side. So because of that pair, this is a sine law situation. So sine of 51 degrees over 9.4 centimeters. And this is sine of x over 6 centimeters. I'll give you a mark already for that because you decided it's sine law, right? That's what needs to happen. Then you cross multiply and divide. So this step, this chunk here is going to be worth another mark with your final answer. So sine of x is 6 times sine of 51 divided by 9.4. When you divide them, you get 0.496, and that just keeps going, okay? Actually, when I said mark, can we make all of this a mark? Okay, so setting up and getting to this part. And if you get the right final answer and you have all the components, you get 2 out of 2. You don't have to stress over the individual marks that I assign. But this must be there. Angle x is sine inverse of 0.496 something. This, I'll give you half a mark for the showing the inverse and half a mark for getting the final answer, which would be 29.74 degrees. Okay, so half a mark for the answer, half a mark for this step. So I would say this, if the sine inverse is missing, you don't even have it on there, take away half a mark. Even if you get the correct answer, the correct answer, I want to see that step here where you take the inverse, okay? So 2 marks so far, so 3 and 2, right? Now let's go to the next one, KLM. I will make a diagram here. And you decide where you want to start. KLM, right there. So M is 20, not drawn to scale at all, right? I just need to know that you put the sides in the right place. Find the largest angle. The largest angle is going to be across the longest side, so it's going to be angle M, okay? Not drawn to scale is a terrible diagram, okay? I would never suggest you take this one. So this is side, 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 so you know it's cosine law without a doubt. There's no pair to be had. So cosine of M is equal to, I got to make sure that that side length is at the end subtracting. Okay, and then it's the other two sides squared and added. Those two sides show up again, multiplying in the denominator, but they have a 2 in front. I will give you a mark for this. Okay, just setting it up, the numbers where they belong, 1 mark. If they're not in the right place, I would go -1. Okay. I'm running out of space, so I will do this again. The top, it gives me negative 16.7. The denominator gives me 208. Okay. I'll give you half a mark for this step. Next would be, and the decimal, I would say. I mean, you don't have to have the decimal on there because I'm assuming this would be 1 second here. Negative 0.0802, and that keeps going. And so the next line would be m is cosine inverse of this. So angle M would be 143.41 degrees. So marks here. So this gives you half a mark. This gives you half a mark showing the inverse step. And you're going to get a full mark for the correct final answer. Okay, so 1, half, 1. Yeah.
Isn't it 167?
This?
Yeah.
Not 16.7? Is the answer still correct? Okay, but then this decimal is off, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. What a decimal can do, right? My bad. Thank you for stopping me. Negative 0.802 and something. And so this is also, so really, I just, I just make this 0.802. That fixes it. So this page is worth 8. Okay, this page is worth 8. Back side, another diagram that you have to make. DEF, F is 43, D is 49, and E is 102. This is SAS, right? SAS. You've got the angle in between the two sides. Cosine law. So find side E. This is what they're asking for. So you start like this. E squared is equal to 43 squared plus 49 squared minus 2 times 43 times 49 times cosine of the only angle that is present, which is 102. You get a mark for correct substitution. Identification that it's cosine law. Okay, you get a mark for that. Next is E is equal to, you take the square root of all of that. That would be 5,126.139, and that keeps going. For today, I forgot to give you a mark for the diagram. I'm going to give you a mark for the diagram here. So half a mark for the diagram, half a mark for showing this step in between where you actually tell me what's inside the root, and then final mark is also going to be worth half a mark, which is 71.60 if you round it correctly is your final answer. Sorry, this is worth 1 mark, never mind. 1 mark for the final answer, not half. So half for your diagram, I don't care if it's drawn to scale. 1 mark for substitution, half a mark for the work, and a full mark for your correct final answer. That's why it's important to show work. If you didn't show this in between, you would lose half a mark for sure. And on top of that, if this is wrong, you might lose more, right? Because I don't know what happened between the original and the last. Okay, next, TUV. Solve the triangle, it says, so everything needs to be solved. Okay, so TUV, U is 60, this is 8.7. Yeah. This? Oh, thank you. I need one of those arms that follow my work. That's my next wish list. 8.7. 7.6 is here. Solve the triangle. Okay, so you've got a pair, so you must start with sine law. So I'm going to go a little bit faster here. Because I have this side, the only thing that I can do at first is solve for this angle, angle V. So for angle V, you go 7.6 times sine of 60 divided by 8.7. That gives you 0.7565, and that keeps going. So angle V is inverse sine of that. Okay? Angle V is 49/16 degrees. Okay? Now, marks. I'll give you half a mark for your diagram. The marks are going to change, by the way. It's not going to be 4. I'll give you 1 mark for the setup and some of the work, and then inverse and final mark, another mark. Okay, so 2.5 for this. I block this off. The next thing I need to do is solve for that angle T. So I'm going to go ahead and solve for T, 180 minus 60 minus 49/16. And angle T is 70.84 degrees for me, right? So that's, in this case, it is something I would circle because it's one of the items I would like to see. So half a mark for that. Pretty straightforward. And now you decide what you want to do. I'm going to go with cosine law. So T is right here, 70, 80, 84. I'm going to go SAS here and solve for that side. Okay? Let's see if you got the same thing if you use sine law. So 7.6 squared plus 8.7 squared minus 2 times 7.6 times 8.7 times cosine of 70.84. Okay, so I'm using this angle, right, which is angle T, and that should be across side T, and that's going to solve for it. 1 mark for either using sine law or cosine law, but setting it up properly. If you use sine law, I would strongly suggest you start with a pair that you knew right from the get-go, and then you're going to go sine of 70.84 over T, right, and then solve that way. So that's fine. This way you get, in the root, it's 90.047 something. So T is 9.49, and I used sine law, and I got the exact same thing on my key. So that's fine. So 1 mark for the setup, and we'll just go 1 mark for the correct work and final answer. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, but the 2 halves, half for the diagram, half for the missing angle, the third. So this whole thing, instead of out of 4, I'm going to zoom out here a bit. So we're just going to cross this out and just say it's out of 5. So 5 and 3, the top there, question D was worth 3 marks. So this back page is worth 8 in total. If you're following along, it's 8 in total for the back side. It is 8 for the front, making this a total out of 16. All right, and so